Well, welcome. Today, Lauren, Christine, and I are going to be talking about sun transits 45 and 12. So we're going to be exploring around, seeing what we can learn and what we can play with over the next two periods of 5.5 days.
Yeah.
So traveling on in the way that the world is showing up these days, we have an interesting starting with 45, very relevant
Yeah.
to the world geopolitical situations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true, Lois. Gate 45 is, again, we're continuing this march through the throat gates. It's also a throat gate. It is it's a tribal ego circuit gate, though. So this is a tribal voice. We just came through 16 and 35, which were much more collective. They're about sharing. And gate 45 is about support. Tribal support is about making sure everybody in the tribe close to you is well resourced, that they're doing well, that they're getting enough to eat. Like all of those things are very important to this gate and this whole channel. This channel is called the money line, and so it really is a very powerful um, heart center to throat center energy about making sure that things are good on the material plane. It's like literally called a design of the materialist. And so we feel and see a lot of these kinds of very, you know, living in the moment experiences, within this gate. Like, am I good? Do I have the things I need, right? Do the people I love have the things they need? It's very mundane in that way. And gate 45 is often called the king or the queen, right? So often people who carry this energy they can kind of have that energy. They really do sort of be like, yeah, I'm in charge, right? And so noticing that in this transit might be of interest too. Like you may see it showing up more in the world. You may feel it in yourself. You may yourself, have the desire to have more control over your resources or over how you're living your day-to-day life, right? And so paying attention to that, noticing that might be useful in this, 5.5 days.
Yeah. It's good. There's like sort of all these amazing things about tribal energy where we're looking after each other. But it feels like when things get better, bigger than just a tribe, and when there's like multiple tribes, the conflict happens over the resources, right? And so here is like who that king or that queen, are they a benevolent king or queen? Are they somebody who cares deeply about the people, or are they somebody who's uh, possessive and wants to be powerful about holding that authority over people? So it feels like the the growth uh, consciousness that needs to happen to move past. I just need to worry about me. I just need to worry about my little family, or do I actually care about all of us? So that's a move from egocentric to ethnocentric to world centric. And it's like, so then we're not othering people and we're caring about everyone's well-being. Like to see everybody on the world in the world have what they need, rather than there's pockets of people who have nothing and pockets of people who have more than you know what to do with.
Hmm. Lois, that's really interesting because looking at it from that view of going from self to thinking about others, I, I also think some of the struggle is in folks that are only looking at the big picture, but not what they can do individually. And this was something during Gate 20 and my points of contemplation that I've been thinking about a lot, that it also needs to be the other way, because we also have to think about what, not what I can do, but what I can do, not what I need, right? But what I can do, and not expect everyone else to do it. So looking at, talking about too, because you're talking about resources and I'm thinking about action here. Maybe I'm still stuck in in gate 35, but I'm just seeing some kind of connection there.
Mhm.
Well, and a gate 45 is, I mean, like, it can be the king or queen, but it is also in the I Ching, it's gathering together, right? And it is looking to bring in people or bring people together in order to, often this is a teaching energy, right? And, so there's also this part of it, like, how can I resource people better in that kind of more like teach a man to fish sort of way too, right? So that also exists in this energy. But the tribal energy is always caught between the individual and the collective. It just is, right? This is the human nature, right? Like, we have these three layers within all of us, each of us, and we each feel the push of all three of them in various forms and fashion, right? Like, there's very often this idea that I want to, like, for me, I'm a what we call a pure individual. I only have individual life force. So the tribe has always been a dilemma for me, right? Like, tribes carry bargains, and I don't like tribal bargains. I don't want to bargain. I want to do my thing, right? Whereas other people have that tribal energy and they're like, cool, I get it. This is part of the bargain, right? I get to have these things, I get to have these people in my life, and I do these things to support them, right? And so, I just think it's going to be an interesting moment to have, just to notice, like, what is the tribe asking of you, and is it a bargain you're willing to continue, right? We're at this end point in historical times too, right? This tribal bargain is kind of very rapidly dissipating for us as a collective, and we are going to be stepping into a time that's much more individual. And so, when we're in this gate 45, I think about just paying attention, noticing where you're seeing these bargains, either within your life or out in the wider world, and really questioning, like, is this still a bargain I'm willing to uphold?
And in that bargain, I think there's the fear that falls at the bottom of this is not having enough. And I think there's the need to face that fear because I was doing some research when I was doing retirement coach training, and they were looking at people who were had like $2 million and didn't think they had enough.
Mhm.
And then they talked to somebody else that had like $250,000 that thought they were going to be fine. And so there's this like, so what is enough? What does that mean to you? And like it's like when you're looking at some people, there's clearly not enough. So like, and how do you fill up? And which goes back to I think when we were talking with 16 last time, is like that doesn't come from outside. I mean, I know food, yes, needs to come out from outside, but most of what fills us up isn't really an external thing. It comes from our own sense of who we are. So how do you work your way around that fear of not enough? Because lots of people don't think they're enough. So, right. So to recognize that whoever you are, you're enough, just the way you are.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that, Lois, because this is, like, again, this is this heart to throat energy, and this heart for 65% of humanity, people have an open heart or an undefined heart. And that is the question for those people. Am I worthy? Am I enough? Right? And so if we don't feel we're enough, then often there is no amount of stuff that will fill us up, right? Because we're trying to fill the wrong hole, right?
Deep bottomless hole.
Yes.
I don't know if I caught on to this last time, but this throat to heart connection, the Gemmo for this gate is black honeysuckle, which is about this exact region here in your throat and creating fluidity there. So I'm thinking about this because physically we look at that if you get a sore throat, there's inflammation and it swells, and so the space is tight, right? And what black honeysuckle does is soothe. So we're talking about a need to soothe ourselves with things. and it reduces the inflammation in that area. So there's more, again, more space for this, and like Lithy, but a little different. Black honeysuckle is for those that they have something, they know what they need to say, unlike Lithy, but it's stuck. So it's stuck right here. And I'm trying to relate that to what's going on. Christine, you look like maybe something connected there with you with that gate, but it's stuck right here. Maybe it's what you need to say to yourself too. It could very well be, and you're not quite, you know how we're that line of, I can't really swallow that. It could very well be related to that, like something about yourself that you really can't swallow and digest and take in.
Hmm.
I was waiting for Lois, but she looked
I
like she
know,
was
I
going to
think,
say
Yeah,
something.
oh yeah.
it's just it was interesting because you're making me think, because like how can you digest what's going on if you can't even swallow it?
Lois, I actually think this is a big thing that's going on right now. Um, and because it's so much, right? You 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 really cannot swallow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're not even close to digesting. We're
Yeah.
just trying to get it to move.
Related to that is this, like you said, there's this knowing what it is you want to say, but not being able to say it is, it strikes me that taking a good look at what your values are would make sense. Like, what do you stand for? And like, and whatever that is take a stand. It doesn't have to be a big stand. That seems to be a bit of a theme today. You know? And actually over the last couple of gates here is like to be able to stand up, um and no matter what it is. I mean, it could be about how people treat pets. It could be how the hospital system works. It could be anything. But it's like, because there's weight. I mean, you can't take a stand on everything because there's so much. Like you said, it's almost like a fire hose coming at us. But pick the things that really matter.
Yeah, that's interesting, Lois, because the polarity gate for 45 is gate 26, which is in the heart center, and it's like the little ego. And it actually is a powerful gate that has the ability to manipulate language. And for the group, for the good of the tribe, essentially. It has the ability to sell things to the tribe so that they move into the future together in better, more resourced ways. And so I think about that ability to look within and maybe language some things that you yourself have been struggling to language, right? Like this energy will be on offer for us. And also something that you guys were both talking about too made me think about, gate 45 is attached in the channel to gate 21, which is also in the heart center, and it's about control and wanting to be in control of your life, the resources, right? And so I do think that that dilemma is a lot of what we were talking about. This is what we're seeing on the planet right now, right? Like everybody wants some control or some sense of control, right? And it is not on offer. And I think really it's never been on offer. It's just that we've been living under this long-term illusion that there was some, you know, thing that was certain that we could count on, that life offered a simple pattern. If we just, followed the rules, then things would work out, right? But that was nothing other than an illusion.
Mhm.
And that illusion is breaking down pretty handily right now. And so I feel like this need for control that lives within all of us is really showing up on the planet. Um, and this time, what did I say? I don't remember the dates now. June 7th to 12th is when the sun's in gate 45, it may really just be a moment to look and see where you are feeling a lack of control, right? Where those bargains are not, feeling great anymore, and just see what you can maybe shift to either release your expectation of control or to actually gain some more control in some way. That's always on a possibility. We often just like don't want to take the steps to make it happen. Sometimes we have control and then we don't want the control too. So I'm like, why did I want that control? Seems like a lot of responsibility now.
I think on a counter side of that is that trusting in some goodwill would go a long way. And I've thought about this a couple of times lately. It's like the small things that we can do to make the world better, like smiling at somebody or saying hello or holding the door, or but just the things that we do that are a positive thing outwardly. It's sort of in that karmic way, something will come back,
Mhm.
and so but it's almost like a pacifist way of controlling. It's like it's the back door into control, but it's not manipulative.
Yeah. Listening to both of you, I want to harken back to this full moon because there's something that I didn't lean into very much when I talked about it, but this thread of honesty. And I think what we're talking about is being honest with ourselves. And um, that I think it's an interesting thing to think about. We've got this full moon, and then within that 2 week period, we've got these transits, and it's affecting 1, 2.5 transits, right? And so how does that color it? And so thinking about that thread of honesty, about being honest with ourselves, being honest about what we're seeing, speaking out for that, and also there's certainly some energy around our looking at beliefs with that. So that's all honesty, just coming to terms with our integrity.
Yeah, that's a
And
tricky one. Lois, you got any skills or
and
any practices for that?
yeah, well, because I was thinking as you were speaking, Lauren, it's like we can't be honest with the world until we're honest with ourselves. And
Exactly.
so that I think there's a sitting with like if it's say like that fear of not enough or whatever it is that's holding back your voice, is to actually sit with that fear and say, so I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen if I said this thing? If I actually spoke my truth, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Mhm.
I mean, because if you find out that the people around you don't agree with you in a way that's going to be problematic, well, now you found out something that's really important because maybe this isn't where you belong. And so there's like, I mean, is that the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and
so-
the city is communion, right? So there is this energy for communion with yourself first, right?
It has to start.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything starts with us.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it.
No.
All right, did we do all of 45? Do we feel like there's
Let's
anything left unsaid?
no, let's go to gate 12. I love this.
Cool. All right. So the sun walks into gate 12 on June 13th, and it'll be there until the 18th. Gate 12, another throat gate. This is going to be an individual throat gate, however. And so we've had all of these energies on offer to us the last few weeks. We had the collective, we just got through tribal, and now we'll have the individual. And gate 12 is the gate of caution in human design, and it's called Standstill in the I Ching hexagram. And it is it's expressing individual emotion. Essentially, it is from, it's part of the stream of emoting. It is the channel of openness. It's a design of a social being or not, right? Like this is definitely somebody with this energy often is could be seen out in the world as somebody who was moody. They either are in the mood to do something or they are not. And so this socialness is either open, they're open to it, or they are not. Um, and so again, that may be on offer to us. We may have this opportunity to feel more social, be out in the world more, take our own personal gifts out and express them in the world in a way that we, may not on some other, sun transit. Um, so the voice here is I act, and so there may be a lot of acting in this space. We may see people acting, maybe acting out. This could be a thing we could notice. And you know, I don't, again, the caution. The reason it's called caution is that it is this ability to either speak cautiously, right? To be careful with your words and to phrase things in a way that are, the people can hear and accept or not, right? There can be, again, this is a lot of emotional energy with this gate. And so noticing that may be useful in that time period for you too. Just where are you speaking? Maybe too quickly, maybe not wading through that emotional, wave, maybe not, maybe saying the thing that really doesn't need to be said. You're just saying it because the energy is there and you want to express something, right? Noticing that in this time period might be really useful.
Was in the Eightfold Path in Buddhism, this is right speech. Like what is the right thing to say at this time? Because it could be right yesterday, but not today somehow. So you're looking at circumstances around this. The one thing I find, you talk about this, and then I look at the gene keys, and the shadow's vanity. And then this is sometimes I have trouble connecting the words, and so like, what do you mean by vanity? And because he talks about it like at this level, it's being in love with yourself, being in love with the sound of your own voice. And we all know, we get around people that they just want to talk and talk and talk and talk, and there actually isn't room for anybody else. And I think that's another thing to consider here is like, are you making room for anybody else while you're doing this? The other thing I thought was interesting about vanity with this one is it travels all through your whole levels of consciousness, all your frequencies. It doesn't go away. We're vain from beginning to end. It's just a different kind of vain. I thought that's kind of fascinating.
Hmm. Hmm. When you brought that up, I immediately thought of the myth of Narcissus um, and and just wondering how that might be related. This looking into the lake and only seeing yourself, right? And that's all you can see. And there's something about that in the I Ching um, oracle and because from the I Ching perspective, in hexagram 12 is about standstill and not being able to move things forward because you're stuck. And that's what vanity is. You're stuck in yourself, right? We even have that term stuck up, right? And so what we're looking for is we're looking for a way to rethink and to be able to see more than ourself and our perspective. I think there's a lot to this gate and looking at it through these different lenses of human design and the I Ching and Gene Keys. But I want to throw in that on day 2, so line 2 of this gate, we have a new moon. But equally interesting to me is this gate starts on the dark moon. And so not being able to see is also a theme, not having that light. And so there's a darkness that starts this, and we moved into the new moon. The new moon's in Gemini. Gemini is all about communication and information. And the thought about this particular new moon in among the astrologers is that, this is going to be a period of rethinking how we communicate and how we use information. I'm sure will be a lot said about AI during that time period, and how we, what's the ethical way to use it or not, and that how we use our inner guidance as well. So I think this is a very deep 5.5 days, actually, and that slowing down, that standstill that is referred to in the I Ching is, I think it's very purposeful. Like, just stop. What are you doing? What are you really doing?
Yeah, I mean, this is an emotional channel. It's the emotional solar plexus connected to the throat, right? And this is the throat end of the channel that, like, it wants to act. That's its voice. I act, right? But if it isn't following its emotional wave, and if it isn't waiting for the correct timing, right? Things go awry, right? This is an individual energy that is here. It has knowing. It's got individual knowing, and it does want to speak. And it can be really powerful, and unless, again, you say things like you said earlier, Lois, at the wrong moment, right? Like, it is very much about that. And so caution, the other side of caution is abandon, right? And so when we are just out there throwing stuff out in the world and not really waiting through, not waiting for the right timing, or not paying attention to what's going on, out beyond our own individual little process, then we often just get caught up in things that we shouldn't be in, right? Probably.
Meaningless stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
But
hurting people, right? Like, this is a voice that can be really, can be really cutting, right? It can say things from this emotional place. Like, you may feel emotional at the moment and have this thing like, I hate the way you do that. And it's just like, right? Like, no, if I just hadn't said that at that moment, right? If I thoughts go on the inside, Christine, right? Like, that kind of stuff is very much about this channel, right? We just say things, we'll blurt something out and unintentionally hurt or, upset the apple cart in some way, or other people that you love. So I suspect that we may see some of that in this time period.
Well, that goes back to what Lauren, she said, like, what am I doing? It's like, so what am I doing? Why am I going to say this? Um, and looking deeply, like you said, like that, looking at yourself, it made me think about people that are on a spiritual path who can get kind of full of themselves because they're, getting enlightened. And then, I mean, that's vanity.
Mhm.
It's like, they'll look at where I am, and and I'm higher than you are somehow. And so it's like the looking at yourself and going, why am I doing what I'm doing? So, like, why do I need to be higher than you? Why do I need to be hierarchical about this? And recognizing that, like you said, Christine, that can be quite hurtful
Mhm.
to behave in that kind of way. So I think this looking in the pool at your own reflection is going to be a practice here.
I like that. And it fits so nicely with the Gemmo, Lois.
Perfect.
Lilac is the Gemmo, and wow, I mean, Lilac, it has a lot to it. But one of the things that it does on a physical level is it really has the power to rejuvenate damaged tissue in your heart. So when we're talking now about how we feel about and say and speak about others, how we feel about ourselves, And so we can say that's the emotional heart or the energetic heart. But what I really love about the way Lilac lines up with what you've been saying, Lois, and also you, Christine, is one, first, it asks you to pause. And so that's beautiful. We're in a period we're asked to stand still. And then take note of whether your life is aligned in all ways or not. And we can't say the wrong thing if we're in alignment. So the minute that thing starts to come out, we're out of alignment. We're not self, right, Christine? Because if we're being self, that wouldn't be it. So what I have found Lilac to be, I want to say, like, those really fine mesh sieves we use in the kitchen for maybe rinsing rice or something like that. I think it does that to your thoughts. And it helps you sort through what's important, what's necessary, what's good and productive, and what just needs to get washed down the drain. And I think my experience is Lilac is totally able to do that. It's not a Gemmo you take for a long time, because you can only wash so much down the drain at a time, right? The drain will get clogged. So you taking it for those 5.5 days, I imagine that you could get some really nice inner work done.
You should notice the lovely lilac behind Christine.
Has it opened up yet up there? Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yeah, we've got white ones all in the back over here, and they are tenacious, man. What a tenacious plant. Like they will grow anywhere and they will spread everywhere. So at least around here, and we don't even have great soil. So if they can do it in not great soil, I can only imagine what they can do in really good soil.
They actually don't like good soil, Christine. That is absolutely true. If you fertilize them or add compost, they will go somewhere else.
Oh my God, this like might be my spirit plant.
Yeah, but think about it in terms of this, right? That's where it does the work in tough soil that would normally not be used.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I love that because I think that that is the emotional solar plexus, right? That is tough soil, whether you have definition or not. Like if you're defined, you have emotional activity all the time happening. And so this idea of the sieve that's actually allowing the filter, like pushing all some of that emotional stuff, just letting it go, and then filtering for the stuff that's really worthwhile that you can express to, through the throat. That's amazing, right? And if you have an undefined solar plexus, you're taking in everybody else's emotional energy, and the same thing. You're trying to sort through what is yours, what is not, what's important, what can be, washed down the drain, as you say. And so, yeah, if Lilac can help with that, I think that would be an amazing gift during this particular transit.
And set us up really nicely going forward.
yeah.
When we're eventually out of throat gates, I feel
When is that, Christine?
I'm not even sure. It's like I forgot like last year. I'm like, God, there's a lot of these. 12 might be the last one.
I remember you looking and going, yeah, we got a long way to go on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out next time. All right. So I guess glad you were with us, and we hope to see you next time.